Hi there, Constantine the Philosopher. Today, a beautiful day in Philippines, and my beautiful dogs taking for a nice walk. I had to get out, it's so beautiful and windy. A nice sunset. I was thinking today to talk about a quote I read yesterday, or somebody mentioned that because you can resist the devil, the temptation, you can. It doesn't mean you can hang around with it. Pretty much another quote I read is like, pretty much, you don't want to have him a roommate. Let's put it that way. And I could give you a good example. For example, when I quit smoking, right? I realized you cannot have cigarettes in the house, or ashtrays, or go to the bars, or hang out, or like go to the coffee store. I mean, although the coffee store has nothing to do with it, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, it might trigger having a coffee. So the devil pretty much in life, he's everywhere. In our thoughts, of course, number one, but by having friends who do things against our norms, against our morals, unfortunately, will make us slide eventually, because we can resist it, but eventually, we might, misstep, and go back to zero. So you have to be always careful when the friends you decide to have, the food you eat. I mean, everything. The commercials. Like what you watch, the porn, the food. I mean, everything pretty much around you. Like even the environment, the work environment. The boss. If you like, that was another video I was going to do earlier, and I just cut it because I want to talk about this one. Pretty much was about like. I'm more sidetracked, but it's about like how workforce you can tell the owner of a business by the employees. For example, when the employees are very have no idea what to talk about, guess what? The owner has no idea. Or they're very rude, guess what? The owner is very rude. And the reason is because the owner will hire people that look like him unconsciously. Hence, if he's a bad person, he'll hire bad people. Because he'll get along with them. He knows, how they process, and he wants, although he might want maybe good people, he will eventually choose the ones that are more like his character. And then the managers will hire people that are like them, who are the same character, etc. And when you go to a store, you immediately know who the owner is. It's funny. And the same goes when somebody goes to your house, in your room. You see a messy room, guess what? You're a messy human. You see a disordered person. You see a house like a war zone. Well, you have problems. Everything is a representation, So, anyway, to connect it with the previous, thought that I mentioned, that you don't want to hang out with the devil. You have to be selective, with your relationships, your girlfriend, your husband, whatever. Your workforce. Where you hang out, what places you go to galleries, with that are worth the time, or you go to nonsense, garbage. You watch garbage, the movies you watch, the content you consume, the social content. Yeah, I mean that's probably number one nowadays. All the TikToks, all these nonsense, random algorithms, that are all propaganda. Yeah, you have to be very aware of what you're watching, because eventually, that's the devil, It takes different forms. There's no like one way. Like I said earlier, the access to cigarettes, even your fridge. Do you have a lot of snacks in the house? Well, guess what? A lot of Cokes, a lot of chips. Guess what? Hold on, there are dogs here approaching. I have to scare them. Because my dogs are not very friendly. Don't scare the dogs. They're very nice. So basically, you have to be careful, the way your room looks, your car, because, the behavior, will be adjusted by, your character will be, adjusted by, the content, understand? Let's say you watch, like I had a friend of mine one time, I went to the car, and I told him, he had the Pope talking on the radio. I was like, whoa, what are we listening? Like, and I didn't know Christian, right? He's like, no, I'm not, but it's a good thing to listen, and that should be sufficient, subconsciously. And I was like, wow. I think at that point I realized the importance of what you consume, and that's why monks, hang with monks, in peaceful places. You don't hear like a rap, about the beaches and stuff, or like bad words, You hear like chants, respectful, that take your spirit higher, to a higher level. That's why you have to be very careful what you do in your life. You have to be selective, very, very selective. That's number one. It's like your investments. You can, for example, invest like in Marlboro or Coca-Cola, like Buffett, when it's something that that will bring sickness or diabetes or whatever. You have to be honest with your morals. You have to have morals, understand? Because Buffett doing that shows a lot about himself, you understand? It's a mirror, what you do, I don't say I'm the saint. I don't say I have bad things too. I don't say the guy is a bad guy. But I'm saying a good investor, a good person would never invest in for example companies like that experiment animals or something like this, right? So you have to be very selective. You have to take your time, Like you don't invest in a place you don't believe in, It's like it shows a lot about you. It shows how you are ugly inside, how a bad person you are inside. Even the people you vote, everything you do pretty much, every action, And this is, like I said earlier, the interference, of your environment, even the family members. You have to cut down anything negative, you have to that against your, that doesn't bring, goodness in your life, You have to be very careful because you're very sensitive, the devil is everywhere, First in the mirror. So in order to get better, to fix ourselves, we have to, clean our environment. That's the easiest way. Like Jordan Peterson said, clean your room, the 12 steps. I always say to people, the first thing you do to find a person, if you want to hire somebody, go to the room for half hour. You know exactly if that's the guy you want. The house. Everybody with Zoom calls, you can see the background, you choose the person by that. I'll tell you, you learn so much more. You can learn so much observation. But unfortunately, temptation now is, and also, when you, let's say, for example, your best friends or the people you hang out with, they sometimes have hangovers or they cheat or something, or they do bad things, Well, guess what? It would interfere with your balance. It will literally tempt you to maybe one day say, I can't, because you have the masters. My father used to be, used to be the share of me, right? So I had the master. If I want to do that, I'll get away with it because I learned from the master. But is that what I want? Is that, I was forced to watch that, unfortunately, because I was a kid. But if I'm around this guy, I will have mastered, as an adult, I'll be like, wow, it's like working in a slaughterhouse, you suddenly disregard the animal eventually. At the beginning, it must be painful, and then eventually you're like, wow, you become that person, Maybe at the beginning, good intentions, they say, whatever. I don't think anybody who goes there has good intentions in the head, but anyway. But that's my personal opinion, Who can kill an animal, especially thousands a day, that's a major lack of humanity. But anyway, I won't sidetrack to that part, which is, of course, part of it. It shows a lot about you, your work, your friends. You can observe a person, you can see your friend, and immediately It's like even like without being mean, you see a friend who, who you can tell, you can really tell. I don't want to be insulting, but you can see, by the way they dress, the way their diet, the way the way their appearance. You can see a lot. You can tell a lot about who they are. It tells a lot. So you have to always be aware of that. You have to always, make sure you select, the more, moral things. Try and do, it's hard. It's a hard path, but trust me. In the long run, you're gonna thank me. You're gonna thank the Stoicism. It's a hard path. Jesus didn't have it easy, But at the end, look, he's a man. He's a boss. All these people who, who did the right thing, Socrates, who do the right thing to fight for what's just. You don't hang out with, people who play poker all day, or just hang around at a happy hour or something. I mean, you can go there occasionally, but that's not who you are. I mean, you never seen Beethoven. I'm probably he was because he was drunk. That's an exception, but you never see people like this. Like just wasting their energy. You have to be very smart and selective. And unfortunately, nowadays, because the devil is everywhere, like TikTok and all these things, and unfortunately, the content is so much crap. I mean, I go to YouTube every day and I see the amount of garbage. It's unreal. And the algorithm feeding us with all this, we have to be very, very careful. It's everywhere, So be very, cautious, selective. Take your time. Don't rush in investments. Matter of fact, I'll say another thing. When you want to buy, for example, something, the devil, the rush, buy now. Zero down, whatever, payments. I fell for these traps so many times. I mean, I'm a complete clown. Don't rush. Don't use those Karna, Affirm, all these lending, unless it's an emergency, code red, Last resort, last resort. Pay cash. Learn to use cash. It's all related, like learn to be debt free. Don't be a slave to, because, slaves want to be slaves, you understand? People want to see you fail, I want you to succeed, you understand? To be like this free, you can't have like debt to enjoy this. You won't enjoy it, no matter where you are. Even in paradise, you won't enjoy it. That's why I stay away from those temptations, 0%, those loans for students, for life, your life. They're like, but I might die 30 or whatever. Yeah, well, I thought the same. I thought the goddamn same. Sorry, God. But you know what I'm saying? I thought, yeah, who cares? A couple of DM, whatever. And then times go by, and then you're like, oh, yeah. Then you have zero savings, zero retirement, major loans, personal loans, student loans. You're gonna have to go to bankruptcy, which I've been there. I learned the hard way, You don't want to be through that. It's very stressful. You have sleepless nights. You're gonna go through a lot, like headaches. I had to really train myself to be strong, not to stress at night before sleeping. I mean, just that. Your health. People have heart attacks. I'm sure. People suicide probably. The pressure is humongous. The debt. Anyway, I sidetracked, but I think you get the point. Like please organize your, put order in your life. Order. Debt free, stay healthy, go for walks, take care of yourself, try to control. Every time you lose your brains, like me, like now I'm too hyper. Well, I gotta learn to meditate more. I should do more. I mean, I like an app called Trip. It's very good. I should use it more often. We gotta slow down. Don't rush. Every time you want to do a purchase, for example, you have no money or whatever, even with money, put it on the side. Don't buy it now. Wait for a few days. Wait for a week or two. And then, you see, your mind is gone. You change your mind. Don't rush. That's why the salespeople want to close the deal now, because they know that I fell so many times, guys, for this. I mean, I paid like 10,000 deal, no, because the guy was rushing me, no, it's now, you have to do it now, and bam, 10,000, boom, done. Or like signing, dealerships. Oh my God. I mean, they know all the games. So you come there, you're like beginner, they're gonna destroy you. Like somebody said, you can't fight stupid. Because the stupid people are masters of the game. They'll crush you. Those guys are masters, you understand? You can't go there and fool them. You think you can fool Affirm or Karna or dealerships or salespeople who sell, their mother or whatever. I mean, not all of them, They're nice people, most of them. But, that's the job, to force you to buy now. So be mature, like just be aware this is temptation, It's in your head, first of all. You want your freedom. You want to be free thought, use your brain, enjoy your life. Low profile. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need that latest machine. Unless it literally, you prove yourself that you test a product, for example. Let's say you have a PC that's dying, let's say your car is dying. Then you buy a car. But if your car is working, just give it, till the end. Just go for it. The tire is still working. As long as they don't gonna kill you. They're gonna slide on the snow or something. Just use them. Don't rush to look nicer, than you are. You're fine the way you are. Matter of fact, live below your means. Look at me. I'm doing great here. I make so much money, and I live under my means. I'm doing great, and it's so much fun. I feel like a millionaire or something, like a billionaire, because you live below your means. But when I'm in LA, I was making the same money. I was feel like a poor man. Like I was like, oh my god. I mean, like, all my money goes all the time. Bam, bam. We're back to zero. Whatever. That's not life. Which is another thing. We have to talk maybe one day. Like, you got to get out of there. This. The West is over. I mean, unfortunately, I really love. I love Paris. I love Greece. I love America. But god damn, I mean, things change so much. I mean, this is the last stop, I guess. Asia. Hopefully, it doesn't get fucked up too. I mean, all this insanity all over the world. But if you have any questions, I can help you, make a move, or think about it, because I've been, in Europe for 12 years, 2 countries, Greece and France. I've been to America 30 years plus, and I'm here. And I tell you, I'll never go back. Unless, things change drastically, which, they won't. There's no. Things change drastically only when they go south, never north. I mean, I'm hopeful. I hope. I think 20 years to be safe, 20 years America will be fine again, maybe, if I'm right on the guess. But maybe, maybe it'll be just the way it is now. Most likely probably. It's stagnant, let's put it. But anyway, I get all over the place. So yeah, like I said, just trying to cut down people who put you down, who are very, play tricks, take corners, anything, sleazy, like doing bad things that, against your norms, because it will affect you eventually, and you will take the wrong way. It will be tempting, and when temptation kicks in, it's hard to stop it. Eventually, you're gonna let it down. And anyhow, I'm gonna go now because it started raining and it's so beautiful. I want to enjoy a bit the waves and my dogs. If you have any questions, I can help you with anything. Feel free to call me or put a message below, and I'll gladly assist you. I mean, that's what I'm doing here. I'm having fun. Like Marcus Aurelius, his meditations, I have them public for everybody. There's nothing, I'm an extrovert, I guess, in that. Although I have no time to be too much social, So I'll talk to you on the next one. Take care now. And enjoy the nice sunset in paradise. Say hello to Rocky and Luna.